If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Monday, February 10th, 2014. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. The IMX Games has become a very popular event across the United States, giving age group swimmers an opportunity to compare themselves to their peers on their team, in their area, and across the country. The final meets for this season just concluded a week ago, with competitions taking place in Georgia and Maryland. Joining me today in the Finis Monitor is Bill Marlin, who is the meet director for the Northeast IMX Challenge held at the University of Maryland. He had the awesome responsibility of working with, get this, 1,200 athletes from 70 teams in the northeastern U.S., making it the largest IMX meet in the country. And joining us now from Arlington, Virginia, is Bill Marlin. Bill, it's good to see you. How are you today?
Hi, Jeff. Doing great.
Well, I know it's been about a week ago and you probably recovered from it, but it must be exhausting to run a meet with 1,200 swimmers.
It's definitely a challenge when there's just two of us doing all the behind-the-scenes work. But we've got great parent volunteers on our club, and we have a tremendous amount of officials help from across the Eastern Zone. And we had 96 officials come out to help work this meet. And our Marlin parents all stepped up. And, you know, when you have good people helping you out like we do, the meets tend to go off a lot smoother than what you think with that volume of athletes in the water.
How did your team, the Potomac Marlins, get it is an awesome responsibility, as I said, of hosting this meet?
Well, 6 years ago, I was out at USA Swimming's convention, and Peter Clark, who's the Eastern Zone high performance consultant, came to me and asked if I would like to run an IMX meet in the Northeast. And at that time, I had no clue what he was talking about. So he explained the whole concept to me, and I told him that I'd be interested in doing it, but let me find a pool. Let me do it at the time frame I really wanted to do it in. And in Northeast, the best time frame for the Northeast was late January, early February. In our competition schedule, we don't have anything going on for the age group athletes at that time of year. So it fits real well into our training program, right in between our last open competition and championships. It kind of falls right in the middle. So when Pete came to me and asked me to do that, I said if I can find a pool at that time, I'd be happy to. So we did. We started the meet down in Tacoma Aquatic Center, which is down in the District of Columbia. We were there for about 4 years, and then the meet continued to grow by about 300 or 400 athletes every year. And we got to the point where we had to move the meet out of the Tacoma Aquatic Center and up to the University of Maryland, which is a much larger facility and was able to accommodate us.
Now give us an overview of what the IMX Games, which is the IM Extreme Games or the IMX Challenge. Give us an overview of what this is all about.
Well, the IMX Games, the intent is to promote diversity and versatility in our age group athletes. And the ultimate goal of this is to just develop more well-rounded, better athletes that have a long-term success in the sport. We all know as age group swimmers, even parents, they tend to think of their 11, 12-year-old as a breaststroker or a butterfly or a sprinter. And as coaches, we all know that they're just age group athletes. Within our club, we promote IMX swimming and diversity within our own club, and it's really catching on across the East Coast, which is evident from the numbers that we have at our meet. But, as these kids get older, their bodies change, and as they mature, a kid might be good at 11 years old in a breaststroke, but by the time they're 16, 17, they might not be as good as they were when they were 12, and their bodies have changed. Maybe they're now a better butterfly. So having that versatility as an age grouper allows you more diversity as a high school and college athlete if they go on that far.
Okay, so really we're just trying to get them excited about, what the future can hold for them. If they are well-rounded now, they can have more options when they get older.
Yeah, that's correct, Jeff. It's just all about versatility and keeping your doors open. You go into swimming as a 12-year-old and say, hey, I'm a 50 sprinter. You're really limiting yourself. So the IMX Games really is looking at getting these athletes competing in different events, different distances, challenging them in all 4 strokes, including the IM.
And then the athletes with the higher point totals across all 4 of the strokes in the IMs, I wouldn't say they're deemed the better athlete, but pretty much that's the goal, is to try to get the most points.
It is. It's very different than your typical swim meet, where in the IMX Games we have kids competing, let's say in the 13, 14 age group. They compete in the 500 freestyle, the 200 butterfly, the 200 backstroke, 200 breaststroke, 200 IM, and 400 IM. So we don't give awards out like a typical swim meet at the end of each one of those events. Kids are used to seeing the end result as a time. Well, we do have a time, but in association with that time, we also have power points that are associated with the athlete's time. So the awards for this meet are given out based on all 5 or all 6 of those swims combined, and the athletes that have the highest power point total are the athletes that win the awards at the.
As you've been running this meet for about 6 years, as you said, is there anything about it that you would like to change?
Right now, our meet is just growing like wildfire. We've even asked coaches and athletes, if USA Swimming were to not fund this meet, would you guys still come? And it's such a popular meet. Many coaches and athletes tell me every year that it's their favorite meet on the schedule. So at this time, about the only thing I would change would be maybe the qualifying scores. And that's only at my site, because the other meets around the country, I think the 1,500 points qualifying for the meet is appropriate, because we're still trying to build participation in those other sites. With the Northeast Games being 1,200 athletes, we're really at capacity right now at that venue. We really can't afford to bring in any more athletes, so we have to figure out a way, either running another meet in the Northeast or perhaps raising the qualifying scores up a little bit to keep the meet at a manageable size. But we're all thrilled to death with the success of the meet so far. It's been a really fun meet to run.
Yeah, I thought maybe splitting it into 2 different locations would be probably the optimal way to do it, because you don't want to keep kids from having the opportunity to do it if they love it so much, by raising a score and keeping them out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the second option. I mean, I think there's enough support in the Northeast that we probably could run 2 meets. The question is finding the right time and the right facility. Washington, D.C. is one of those hub cities. It's easy to get into. It's easy to get out of. Lots of hotels, lots of cheap airfares in and out. And I think that meet down in Atlanta that was going on the same weekend has the potential to develop into a meet just like the Northeast, because Atlanta is another one of those hub cities where I think they've got some big anchor teams down there that, if they support the meet, could really help that IMX concept take off down there.
When we talked before this interview, you said that your meet is more than twice as big as all of the other meets. Have they come to you and said, what can we do to make it bigger? Have you gotten any people, any of the other meet managers saying, what are you guys doing that maybe we can do better?
Yeah, we do a conference call with the Age Group Development Committee. We ask all of the IMX hosts to join in on one of our conference calls, which is coming up here real soon. And during that conference call, we will go around and ask each of the meet directors to talk a little bit about their meet, what the challenges were, what we can do better. The meet that was out in Mesa, Arizona in mid-November had just under 600 athletes. So, they're doing something right. The meet's growing there. The coaches and athletes are coming and supporting that meet. So we have some other locations, though, that after 5 and 6 years just aren't seeing any growth. And so as the age group development committee at USA Swimming needs to make a decision whether we're going to continue to run meets at those sites, or in the case of the Midwest, we have one meet that's at Indianapolis, Indiana, and that meet's been relatively small since its inception. But we also had a meet that was at Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, which is just northwest of Chicago. And in their very first year, they had 190 athletes. And that was a challenging meet for them because they originally got the information out late. They weren't aware that they were competing with another Midwest site. The dates were wrong on the LSC website. So even, with all of these challenges, they still attracted 190 athletes. I think that site, being right near Chicago, is another one that could potentially grow into a really nice size meet. So, the numbers look good. We just need coaches and athletes to come out and support these meets because it's a great format. It's a very different format for the kids, but it's really fun.
You mentioned USA Swimming's Age Group Development Committee, which you're the chair of. What is the goal of that committee for this year?
Well, we have a couple projects going on right now. The IMX Games has been a long-term project for us. So one of the things we'll be discussing as far as the IMX Games go is what's the next step? What's the next evolution of this meet? So we've had some discussions with USA Swimming. They're ongoing. We've given them some ideas that they seem to, really like right now. To try to give this meet a little bit more importance, try to help grow the participation in other areas. But yeah, I'm the chair of the committee, and along with some other projects we have going on, that's the IMX one is always out there.
Yeah, well, it's good to see that. I'm sure you're glad to see that kind of this thing that you've been working on personally is really gaining some ground.
Yeah, and I have to give credit to my predecessor, Tony Young from Indiana. He's the one that really got the ball rolling, and he kind of handed it off to me. And, so it's my job now to see, what can we do with this meet from here forward.
I want to talk a little bit about your team there, the Potomac Marlins. You are in the 21st year as head coach there. Obviously, the team is named after your last name. I mean, that must have been very easy to find when you were looking for a name for the team. You were like, hey, my last name's Marlin. There we go.
Yeah, my brother and I own the club, and we're pretty close to the Potomac River in Potomac, Maryland. So it wasn't real hard to come up with a name. But our club, we're one of the medium-sized clubs here in Potomac Valley, but across the country, we'd be considered a pretty large club. We have about 480 athletes. We use 6 different facilities, 18 coaches, and it's been a great career for me. It beats sitting in a cubicle somewhere in an office building for sure.
Well, that area in the country, Virginia and Maryland, just ripe with some great teams. So I'm sure you guys are really thriving and really always never starving for some competition.
No, well, there's a lot of meets on our schedule. There's a lot of high school and summer league athletes that swim in our area that aren't currently on USA Swim Club. So we have a very big feeder program in our summer leagues around here. So there's plenty of athletes to go around. We just don't have enough pool space to accommodate all the clubs, because in our area, as strange as it may sound, we have 2, 3, 4 clubs using the same facility, sometimes all at the same time. So it can be a little dog and pony show sometimes, but we make it work. We all know each other. We see each other on deck every day. So it's a unique situation to Potomac Valley, but somehow we make it work.
Well, I think probably some of the coaches watching the show now from other parts of the country are probably saying, I can relate to it. So it may not be as unique as you think, at least in terms of pool space.
Yeah, the comments I hear all the time, Jeff, are just like, there's no way in heck I'd ever be able to do that. No way. But, we have to. That's the situation we're in here.
You have to, and I'm sure it's working. Anybody on your team that we should be looking out for and on the horizon, maybe the next Michael Phelps or Missy Franklin?
Well, we have two young ladies. We have a 14-year-old Holly Jansen, who is real close to USA Junior National cuts in the 100, 200 breast. We also have another young lady that swims it with my other senior coach, Kevin Ahern, at Cub Run. Natalie Obando, she's a 100, 200 backstroker. And we've got several up-and-coming 12-year-olds. Max Corunda, He was 8th place at our IMX championships last weekend. Holly was 6th, and several others are in the pipeline. So the next few years are going to be pretty exciting. We have a really good group of 13, 14-year-old boys. At a meet back in December, they shattered this meet record and team record by 10 or 12 seconds in 800 free relay and just smashed our team records in the other two. So it's going to be exciting the next few years.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing all that, Coach. Well, I know you got workouts to plan, everything to do, so we'll let you go. But first, we're going to submit you to the final five questions we ask all of our guests on the Morning Swim Show. First question is, if you could change the order of strokes in the individual medley, how would you change it?
Let's see. I think I would go breaststroke, freestyle, butterfly, backstroke. And that way we're putting a little bit more emphasis on that underwater dolphin kick on the back half of the race.
Well, everybody with great lung capacity, we could really excel in that part of it. Besides coaching, what career or job would you most like to try?
I've said this to my wife many times over the years, and she just shakes her head and says, no way. But law enforcement has always interested me.
Okay.
I like helping people.
Okay. What career or job would you not like to try?
Politics. President of the United States is not a job I'd want right now.
I don't think it's a job anybody would ever want. Although, I guess it's still an admirable job, but yeah, definitely not. If you could change or add any of the rules in the swimming rule book, what would it be?
Well, they're actually changing the one I've complained about all along. I'd love to be able to see the toes be able to curl over the edge of the gutter on the start. In my mind, you're allowed to do that off of a starting block. Why can't you do that off a wall? So I think they're addressing that actually already with the underwater block for backstroke.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Last question, Coach. Where do you like to go for vacation?
That one's easy. Anywhere tropical and warm with sun. I think my best vacation we ever had was Paradise Island in the Bahamas, but Hawaii sounds real good too.
Anywhere that isn't in threat of a polar vortex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I could agree with you there. Anywhere tropical right now. Well, Bill, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on the continued success of not just your location of the IMX Games, but your success with continuing to make it grow around the country.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it very much.
My pleasure. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the Morning Swim Show. Be sure to keep up with news and aquatic sports at swimmingworld.com. Also, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to stay in touch through social media. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.